we should like do all these different things, and we can't do that anymore, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people fail to do that, right? And then the friend gets jealous, whatever, and like, what's going on, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
good to do that.
Yeah. I'm lucky because I get to work with so many amazing people I've developed friendships with. And I think too from like my other friends that I've had before I started my business or who aren't in my business with me that that's hard because it's like, oh, look, like she's doing this and this. Like, yeah, but I'm working. I just got lucky because my work is fun.
Yeah. So you kind of answered this before, but when you decide to start a business, why a PR business? Why not like
Mhm.
of all the different things you know? Why specifically PR?
Well, after putting together the protests and Juneteenth, uh, during that time it was COVID, so we had lost, I think, almost 30 businesses at the time when I started putting this stuff together. And one of the business owners that I connected with through organizing the art walk, she reached out and was like, "Hey, you did a really good job on the art walk, and I'm really impressed with everything you've been able to accomplish on your own. I want to start a pop up market. Will you help me?" Again, still was weird that people were looking to me for business things. I'm like, "Okay, I'm literally just changed somebody's diaper, like,
You're
this
like,
is
there's no
weird."
one else you can go to. Like
Yeah.
me, like, well, are you kidding me? And
Yeah,
you're like this must be a scam. You must be trying to take
like, you don't
advantage.
get out much. Yeah, like, so that was difficult to kinda get used to. But, through that, we put together these pop-up markets that help drive foot traffic in downtown Renton, COVID, and they had a lot of the streets ripped up, and we wanted our surrounding businesses to be successful. So after I did that, I got to learn about the process of working with vendors, small business owners, and growing relationships with them. And I'd sit down with them and learn about their business. And through that process, I'd be like, "Hey, well, have you ever thought about doing this? This would be really great with this demographic." And I'm just like, shit, like, I actually have a lot of really good ideas. What can I do with this to help like my fellow small business owners? And I kind of, again, went back to Google. What is a job that I could do, like uplifting other businesses and advertising other people's things? And PR came up and I dug into that. And I remember calling my best friend I grew up with in Maryland. I'm like, "Hey, I think I'm going to start a PR business." And she's like, "Of course you are. Like, why wouldn't you do that? Like, that's literally who you are."
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
just like, damn, like, it's funny how it brought me back to a lot of the things about myself as a child. So,
It's funny like how much so many of us like underestimate what we can do, right?
yes.
Like we always think we're not good enough, whatever the case may be, right?
Hmm.
And of course, some of us like think we're too good, right? We're like, like, no, you're not that good. And the ones who are good, like they put themselves down, unfortunately, right? Which is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Um, how did you get involved in art? You always been involved with art?
I've always loved art. I used to paint a lot when I was younger. But then when I had kids, I kind of stopped painting for myself and it would just be like little mommy art projects. Um, so I think the little activist in me has always been there. My mom, she protested a lot in her country about racial equity as well. And I think from the time we are very little, we've always just been taught like if there's a way that you could help someone or stand up for someone, especially when they can't on behalf of themselves, then you should. And when you see inequities or something that isn't right, like say something. So I remember like even in middle school when they had the curriculum where they taught you about slavery and the teachers wanted us to watch Roots, Glory, and Amistad. And I told my teacher, I'm like, "I'm not watching this." And she's like, "Well, you have to watch it. Like, as part of the curriculum, you get credit for this."
Wait, what grade were you?
I was in seventh grade.
Okay.
And I'm like, "I'm not watching this. I'm not going to allow you to tell me who we were and what we came from. Like, I know that we come from kings and queens. This slavery shit was just a period in time, and you guys just basically used it to try to keep us in order." And I picked up my desk and I sat it in the hallway and I looked at her. I said, "And you can call my mom if you want to, because she'll agree with me." And I didn't get in trouble
Yeah.
for that actually, because my mom did agree with me. And so that little activist has always been active in me. So when the whole BLM movement happened, I was, I don't know if happy is the right word, but I was ready to go out and protest. And I did in Seattle. And that wasn't safe for the kids. So what was a good way for, kids to express their feelings is art. 'Cause I know when I was little, I turned to art a lot. And most of the time it was through music or performance art. But any style of medium has always been kind of therapeutic for myself. So merging the activism in me and the love of art, putting together that protest was kind of something that meant a lot to me. So
So we'll go back to art in a minute. But
yeah.
back to protesting. Like, two-part question. Why do you think it's important for people to protest? I mean, whatever the left, right, middle, whatever they're at, why do you think it's important for people to protest? And the more important part, like, does anything really get changed by protesting, right? Does
hmm
any laws get changed? Does the things way work? Does anything really change by the protest, you think? What's your opinion on that?
Um, I think it's important for people to protest because a lot of the times communities who are underserved, like their voices are not held to the same standards as our counterparts. And the saying that riots are the language of the unheard, like it takes a community and a people to a time to build up that frustration to where it's like enough is enough. And do I think things change through protests? I do. I think this last one was particularly effective because as a world, as a society, we had been forced to sit down and just be quiet and like fully pay attention. We weren't distracted by our everyday lives and parties and bars and even work. We were just stagnant in one place and silent and still. And because the protests happened at that time, I think that it allowed a lot of people who may not necessarily would have had time to listen or even care to actually like hone in and pay attention and listen and most importantly understand what people were trying to say. So
So
I do think,
from your point of view,
hmm
so sorry to interrupt you, but from
yeah,
your point of view, do you think, when I say better, whatever better is your definition, right?
yeah.
Do you think things are better now than before all the protests?
Honestly, after the BLM movement, I did see a lot of businesses, corporations, entities step up to want to fight for equity and actually start doing the work. Whether it was genuine or they felt forced to is irrelevant because the work was being done.